So now that you've heard about one of the missionaries to Africa, David Livingstone, let's actually talk a bit more about the continent of Africa and maybe not today so much the modern countries that they have. I actually want to look at segments of Africa. Like I said earlier on Thursday, I feel sometimes overwhelming because Africa is so large and there are so many different individual parts and pieces. So what we'll be doing is we'll be looking at it starting in North Africa, then we'll move around to East Africa, South Africa, Great Zimbabwe at one time, and then we will end with West Africa today. So let's just start by going over a few things that, well, to be completely honest, we've kind of already discussed, or actually, you were told to do research on the day that I was sick. So, again, there are 54 countries within the continent of Africa. And I do want to remind you, it's kind of where we left off yesterday. But right here, all of Africa was colonized by foreign powers during the scramble for Africa. I've used a term for the scramble for Africa. Does anybody remember what that is? I'll give you a second to think while I take a sip of my drink. If you said partition of Africa, you were absolutely right, and great memory. Make sure that you have that written down in your notes, that it went from 1885 to 1914. Again, that's the partition of Africa. Again, that was the taking apart of Africa, and the Europeans had seen the power and the resources that could be obtained from this great continent. And it will be looked upon later in the history as this new imperialism. And previous to that colonial rule, it was comprised of up to 10,000 different states and languages. I'm going to kind of jump from here because, like I said, most of this we've already read or gone over. I do want to point out one last thing, though. Please note that agriculture is still the largest source of Africa's continental GDP, though let's see, they do have a lot of other resources, though, as well as being a large oil exporter. However, like I said, agriculture is still their biggest source for their gross domestic products. Oh, and don't forget, it's the world's second largest continent. It's big. All right, so like I said, we're going to break this up and let's start right here. Let's start with North Africa. So somewhere on your note sheet, please note North Africa. And again, a lot of this we'd already kind of tickled over on Thursday, but does anybody remember what is the dominant religion both in more ancient history and even to this day in North Africa? If you said Islam or the Muslim culture, you are correct. Please associate North Africa with Egypt. Remember our discussion about the